Hi friends. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the first pattern that I have made for the wrap dress series. So in this series, I am going to be sharing with you different styles of wrap dresses, and I'm going to be sewing different wrap dresses and sharing with you the different looks that I'm going to be creating with certain patterns. So if you tuned into last month's video, featuring wrap dress and shirt dress patterns. That video is titled 17 Timeless Wrap and Shirt Dress Patterns. And I featured several different wrap dresses and shirt dresses that you can sew that are fall friendly. And in that video, I also gave a little bit of a historical account of how we've come to have the wrap dress and the shirt dress. And I also commented in that video that I wanted to do a series on the wrap dress. And so that kind of evolved, and I've gotten a lot of different private messages and people wanting me to do this series. And so I am going to do a series on wrap dresses. And so today I'm sharing with you my very first pattern of the series, and this is the Butterick B6928. Now I'm going to be giving a review of the pattern as well as the fabric. The fabric was purchased from Mood Fabrics. I'll leave a link in the description box below, and you can go over and learn more about this fabric. Now I do have some strong recommendations before you decide to purchase this fabric, so please stay tuned and watch the entire video if you're interested in the fabric, so that you will learn what to avoid or what to expect with this pattern or with this fabric. So make sure that you watch the whole video, because both the fabric and the pattern, I have lots and lots of comments for both. Now, this video is also a collaboration, and so I am collaborating with the beautiful Alex of Amazing Lifestyle. She goes by that handle here on YouTube as well as on Instagram, and I'll make sure that I put a link in the description box below to her video, so you could go over and check out her video and what she made with this fabric and get her thoughts of this fabric as well. Now, during this collaboration, Alex and we have kept in close contact as we both were sewing with this fabric. We both have very similar views about the fabric, and so please make sure you watch her video as well, so that way you can get her review of the fabric. If you desire to purchase this fabric, I really recommend you watch my video through and through, as well as Alex's video as well, so that way you know what you're going to expect with this fabric. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead, get into the pattern review portion of the video, and then followed by that, I will tell you more about the fabric. So I decided to go with the Butterick B6928. So you can get this in two groups of sizes. So it starts off from your size, let's see, 8 to 16, and then you can get the size 18 to 26. So I got the size 18 to 26, and I selected the size 18. Now I will say that this pattern tends to run a little bit on the larger end, and I think it has quite a bit of ease, especially for the bust area. So the size 18, it's on the tissue paper, it's stating that it is a 43 inches for the bust for the finished garment measurements. It does not list the waist measurements, because usually with these types of styles, since you're wrapping the bodice, is really hard to get a read on what the final wrap is going to be. But I would say based on the bust measurement and then also how it rests on my body, it's probably somewhere in between a 29 to a 31, maybe a 32 inch for your waistline. And then for your hips, you have quite a bit of room there. If I had to guess, I would say maybe somewhere in the high 40s, maybe even 50 for your hips. Like I said, it has quite a bit of room in your hip. This is a full wrap. So what I mean by that is sometimes when you have a wrap, especially for your skirt portion, sometimes the wrap don't quite lap over your legs, and you have like a gap or some fabric that's not missing, but it's like really open, and your leg can show. That's not the case with this particular wrap. It is a full wrap. It can wrap from waist to waist. And in fact, you do have ties as your closure for this style of wrap. You're going to be putting ties on your left bodice, as well as the lower part of your left bodice, as well as your right bodice piece. And on your right side of the body, you are leaving a little bit of a hole on the seam area there, so that you can feed your wrap or your ties through the that hole and wrap it around to the back of your body onto the left side of your body. And then you're taking the tie that's on the lower edge on the left side, and you're tying it off to the side of the left side of the body. I hope that makes sense. I'll try to put some videos in inside this video so you can see what I'm talking about. You'll see like that little hole on the side of the body that you have to kind of sew around, creating like a little hole on the side of the body. You'll see the ties and all that stuff. You do have neck facings for the garment, so you have back and front neck facings that closes off the raw edges of the neckline. So you don't have bias binding, you do have facings. You also have the option to do this beautiful collar. You have a gathered puff sleeve, and at the lower end of that gathered puff sleeve, you have a band on the sleeve as well. Now, the sleeve is supposed to feature gathering on the lower edge of that sleeve as well, but there was not enough fabric to actually gather at the lower edge to have that that detail at the lower edge of the sleeve. And I'll make sure that I include a video and picture so you can see what that looks like as well. And so it kind of falls flat around the entire width of the sleeve. It's just a band on the sleeve. So I found that to be a little bit frustrating, because if you look on the model as well as on the illustration, you do see gathers, but it fell flat for me. I did not have to do a bicep adjustment because the sleeve pattern is sized really good. Because you have that puff sleeve, it's really wide, kind of similar to a bishop sleeve. And so you do have that wide pattern there. I did variation B, but so I did the sleeves of view B and the skirt of view A. So my skirt is knee length. I did shorten, in terms of alterations and modifications, I shortened my bodice front and back by 1 inch because it was too long. I also did a 1/2 inch forward shoulder adjustment. I did a 1/2 inch. I shortened the length of the shoulder by a 1/2 inch as well, because it was kind of like the sleeve was falling off the slope of the sleeve was falling off my shoulder point. And so I had to bring that up quite a bit by a 1/2 inch. Let's see here. I think that's all the changes that I actually made I had to take the skirt in a little bit. So I took the skirt in by a 1/2 inch on the front and the back at the lower skirt. And the reason why I did that, it wasn't anything wrong with the pattern. It's just my fabric wasn't wide enough. And so I had to slim the pattern down at the lower edge near the hem, because it was too wide and too flared for my pattern, or for my fabric, sorry. And so those are all the changes that I made to the garment. I also added a 1/2 inch near the fullest part of the bust, so that there was no cleavage showing inside my garment near the bust area. After I did that, after I finished sewing up the entire garment, I also put a snap closure at the fullest part of my bust as well. Now, after I added the 1/2 inch to the bust area, I noticed that I did not have to add the snap, but I just added the snap for good measure. If you're big busted and if you are a CD cup, I am a CD cup, you might want to think about um, making that adjustment on the neckline, adding that 1/2 inch. You can also do an FBA. I just didn't want to do an FBA. I just added some I just made that adjustment to the neckline. There was no gaping on the neckline even before I actually added the 1/2 inch. There was no gaping, and so I didn't have to fix any gaping issues or anything like that on the neckline. So it was really nice in that way. In terms of the pattern, I did like the pattern. I enjoyed the pattern. I feel like the fabric um, left a bad taste in my mouth for the pattern. And once I do the fabric review, you'll see why and what I mean by that. So although the pattern isn't a bad pattern, it does run quite large. I would definitely go down to the size 16. I usually go up maybe a 42, 42 and a half, just to give myself some room, because I'm always gaining weight. When I gain weight, I gain it on the top of my body first, before anywhere else. And so I like to go up at least 1 inch, just so I can have some wiggle room if I want to wear it in the future. But I did notice that it does have quite a bit of ease in this pattern. I would definitely go down to the size 16 next time. I did not like the way that it was just sagging everywhere. And so what I did, because I'm working with a viscose woven type fabric, I just ran it in the wash a couple of times with hot water. And I also put it in my dryer a few times on a high heat so that I can shrink the garment down. And so it helped somewhat, but not completely. And I think a large part of it has to do with the fabric as well, not just the size of the pattern, but also the fabric. And so let's go ahead and switch gears and let's talk about the fabric. So this fabric is called Fanciful Fawn Viscose Woven, and it is said to be on a 56-inch wide fabric. And again, it's supposed to be a viscose woven, which I don't contest that. It definitely behaves like a viscose. It moves like a viscose. It's definitely a viscose fabric. I like the print. However, when I received it in the mail, it just seemed a little, the coloration on the monitor was just different than what I received. Although I still really do like it. The color is just not as rich as I thought it would be. So that's something I think that you should watch out for, or maybe order a swatch before you get it. I know Alex also had this problem. In fact, she actually ordered a swatch, and when she ordered the swatch, she liked the swatch, and then she ordered the fabric, and then the fabric was different than the swatch. So you'll have to watch her channel. Maybe she'll talk about this a little bit on her channel, but it was a little bit of a variation there. The other thing about the fabric is, as I stated before, it's said to be on a 56-inch wide fabric, but that is not the case at all. So the fabric that I received, as well as Alex, was on a 46 to 47-inch wide fabric. And so that posed some problems for me because after I washed the fabric and prepped the fabric, I didn't think to actually measure the fabric until after I prepared my pattern pieces and everything, and I was about to cut my pattern pieces out, and I noticed that my skirt did not fit on this 56-inch wide fabric. And so I'm thinking, this doesn't make any sense. So I went to measure the fabric. It is about 10, maybe even 11 inches shorter than what it's stated on the website. The other thing is, it has a very, very wide selvage edge on one side of the fabric, and I think it's somewhere like 3 inches wide, or 3 to 4 inches wide, which I did not understand why the selvage was so wide. And so I contacted Mood and I explained to them, not only is the fabric not on a 56-inch wide fabric as it states, it actually, it also has this really wide selvage. And so, and I explained to them I paid for this with a particular project in mind, and it's not a 56-inch wide fabric, and now I can't complete my project. And so they made things right. They did make things right, and they did send me some more fabric so I could complete the project. But I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. If you decide to purchase this fabric, it's not 56 inches wide. It's in fact, it's less, it's not 56 inches wide. So you will not be able to do this project unless you slim down your skirt pieces like I did and you purchase more fabric. So the fabric calls for, so if it were to be on a 60-inch wide fabric or close to that 60-inch wide fabric, I would have needed no more than 3 yards of fabric. And so that's what I purchased. I purchased 3 yards of fabric, but obviously I couldn't do dress A. Now this is dress A. I couldn't do that because, I had 3 yards of fabric, but it wasn't 60 inches wide. For dress A, it's also calling for 45 inches wide, 4.5 yards of fabric. So Mood did send me that extra 1.5 yards to make up for the loss of, because I couldn't complete the project. So again, really great dress pattern. The only thing I would recommend is make sure that you do a mock-up and see what you would like to do in terms of like size range. And I would definitely say, if you can, do your mock-up in the same fabric that you want to use for your final dress. So if it's a challis that you want to use, I would definitely say use a challis for your mock-up. So I used a 100% cotton and it was very, very stiff. I just wanted to get an idea, like a basic idea of what I would need in terms of my bust and my waist. And this was not the fabric to do any kind of generalizations with. This fabric grows, it didn't handle well. It didn't really wash well. It frayed a lot. I had to, throughout the project, use my serger because it frayed quite a bit. I could not, so the dress comes with pockets, and you can put pockets on the side of the dress. And when I sewed the pockets on the side of the dress, there was this big gaping, like the pockets just gaped really bad. And at first I thought it was the pattern, but I contacted Alex to see if she had any concerns with this fabric, like growing or stretching or anything like that. And she had the same problem with her pockets as well. And so this fabric does not behave like a viscose. Even though it is a viscose, it doesn't behave like your typical viscose. It's quite different. I would recommend this fabric to someone who has experience with sewing with different types of fabrics and can adjust and kind of grow with the fabric as you're going throughout the project. But I wouldn't recommend it to someone who is just starting out because it is a fussy fabric. There's just too many variables for me in terms of purchasing the fabric, the color of the fabric, not having the width be right, the growing of the fabric, the fraying of the fabric. There was also some issues with when I was sewing with the correct needle. It was snagging and I had to use fray check in different spots. I'll share with you some pictures. I had to sew the pocket closed. I didn't want to unpick and do all that because I had already put bias binding and all kinds of stuff on it. I really went all out with this, used my serger and bias binding and all kinds of stuff. And I just decided I'm just going to sew the pocket closed. So that's what I did on this garment here, because it was just a mess with the pocket, and it was because the fabric just behaves quite differently. Because the fabric kind of grows and everything, the hem is kind of uneven. I let it sit overnight to let it drop, because that's something that you need to do, especially if you have a skirt that's cut on the bias. But, you know, I really try to work with this hem, and every time I try to work with it, it just keeps stretching and dropping, and it's just not the best of fabrics. I think that this would be good as a top, but as a dress, because dresses have more weight. I would not be not even an A-line skirt, maybe a simple, just a straight skirt, or maybe a long wrap skirt where you're not really seeing the hem very much. But if you're doing like your knee length or your calf length type garments and you see the hem, it might not look so flattering. But those types of things I would kind of watch out for. I was really, really depressed because I really did like this fabric when I saw it on the site, and it's not cheap. It's like $16.99 a yard or something like that. So it's not cheap. It's one that I am really sad about the project. It is wearable, but it's just not as good as I thought it was. So anyway, that is my very first video for my wrap dress series. And again, this is the classic wrap dress style, made with Butterick B6928. So I'll be doing my next video. It's going to be with the McCall's M8036. And so I'm almost done with that one, and I will be sharing with you really soon that wrap dress. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this wrap dress. Despite all the hiccups and bumps along the road, I think it turned out to be a decent make, and I would definitely wear it. But yeah, you let me know in the comment section below what you think of this pattern and also the fabric. And if you made this pattern before, let me know in the comment section below what your experience was like. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.